Hello, Christina, and welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Actually, I have been watching you for a while, and I'm admiring what you're doing. So basically, you started She Matters, and it's I want to say an agency that helps migrants and refugees to find jobs, and you're focusing on women.
Yeah.
I want you to maybe talk more about She Matters and which countries are you focusing on?
Yeah, so She Matters, we're a social enterprise recruitment agency with a mission to empower female newcomers to enter the labor market. We started in the Netherlands in 2017, August 2017.
Yeah.
And I mean, it started off with just a very simple idea. I wanted to help, I wanted to give back. And it could have been anything. It could have been, teaching women how to sew. It could be, having cooking classes. But what I found was that across Europe and in the Netherlands, there was such a problem, such a gap with them entering the labor market. So based on that problem and my personal experience, I founded She Matters, and we've been doing quite well.
If you can talk more about your experience, what made you start She Matters? It must have been something very deep within you that started it, because not a lot of people are doing what you're doing, and I admire that.
Yeah, so again, I wanted to give back. I didn't want to do something that was already being done because I felt like that's ridiculous. I could just, give my time and resources to what was being done already.
Yeah.
But I didn't find anything that was close to what we do at She Matters as a social enterprise recruitment agency. Yeah. So focusing on women, but also with my personal experience and my background. I am not a refugee. I don't have a forced migration background.
Okay.
But I do understand what it feels like not to be seen. And what I mean by that is I am from the United States. I was a high school dropout. On my 16th birthday, just left on my 16th birthday. And before I was 18, I had my son Armando. And we were on social benefits. So we were as poor as you can be in the US without being homeless. We got like checks for rent and for food. And I remember I always wanted to be a lawyer growing up as a kid in the United States. You want to be either a lawyer or a doctor or an astronaut. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be that thing because it seemed like this person is important. So I always held on to that dream, but of course, life happens. And I remember going to my caseworker because at the welfare office because she wanted to know what it is that I was doing to get off of benefits.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, I said, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And
wow.
I really thought she was just going to maybe give me some encouragement and, maybe, give me some, resources, but she just laughed at me.
Oh my God.
And said, that's not going to work out for you anymore. Here's some applications to, Walmart and Target. They need cashiers. And I try to remember what she looked like. I don't remember her. I don't remember her name, but I think if I saw her, I would probably give her like the biggest hug because she really changed my life. It's because of her that I went home and I enrolled in a technical college to get certified answering calls at a call center. I got a full-time job with that, but then I went to night school because I wanted just to try. I wanted to prove to myself, could I do this? Could I reach that dream? So very long story short, it took 12 years from being a high school dropout to working my way up from, earning my associate's degree at the community college, transferring to the university for my bachelor's and attending the master's program. And then in 2013, earning my law degree.
Wow.
And thank you. Thank you. And so I never pretend to understand what someone with a refugee background has gone through.
Yeah.
Because I think that would cheapen their experience, or not cheapen it, but it would do them a disservice because I could never.
Yeah.
But I do understand how it's like not to be seen.
Yeah, I get what you mean. When did you start She Matters?
Officially, it was August 2017.
Okay.
That's when I went to the Chamber of Commerce and I registered us. But it was a couple months before then that I was just researching. I was really hungry for, ways that I could help, and I just became glued to my laptop, researching the problems associated with refugee women. So it was about a couple months I did research and was trying to find where I could help.
Yeah.
And then August 2017 we launched.
Nice. And why did you decided to start it here in the Netherlands and in Rotterdam in particular?
Yeah, so I was working as an international lawyer with a legal partnership in The Hague.
Okay.
That was my job. That's what I did during the day, and it just seemed practical to, start She Matters in the Netherlands. I mean, if I was working in international law in the United States, I would have started it there. So it was really more about, practicalities. But why I am so happy that we're in Rotterdam is because there's a huge problem with refugees entering the labor market.
Yeah.
So a research report that came out last year found that 4 out of the 2,459 refugees who call the city of Rotterdam home are employed full-time. 4.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And I mean, across the Netherlands, a similar report that came out around the same time found that only 11% of refugees in the whole Netherlands are employed full-time. And so this is a huge problem. And specifically by being in Rotterdam, there's so much that we can do for the women and hopefully their families and the community.
Well, since you're talking about refugees, there is a misconception, or people think that migrants and refugees are the same thing, one and the same. What's the difference?
Yeah, so refugees and migrants, they are not the same, they're different. Refugees are forced to flee their home because of conflict or of some fear for their lives.
Yeah.
And that could be attributed to, war, conflict, or environmental disasters. They are not safe to be where they are, what they call home. A migrant is someone who relocates away from what their usual where their usual home is, and they do that for different reasons. All refugees are migrants, but not all migrants are refugees.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we focus on refugee and migrant women, or very simply, women with a forced migration background.
This is going to be my second question then. Why only women? And why didn't you focus, for example, on children or also young men, maybe teenagers or why only women?
Yeah, so during that time that I was researching and finding out how I could help, I found that just because of their gender, women are twice as vulnerable to sexual gender-based violence, modern slavery, human trafficking, from the time they leave their country of origin to the time they get to their host country. Wow. And so they have all of these different experiences. Some of them have lost loved ones along the way. Some of them are now in this new role of maybe being the head of household.
Yeah.
Completely different circumstances and experiences that women have that are different from men. And I think that, look, at the end of the day, I mean, all refugees, they've been through so much, but I wanted a way that Christina could help, right? And by looking at, again, my experience of feeling like I know what it's like not to be seen. I am a woman. I do know also the benefits of being in a space where it's all women, because then I can share my experiences with other women. There's some safety in that. Yeah. If there was a man there or, even young man, I would feel less free to talk about what I've been through. And at She Matters, storytelling or sharing experiences is huge.
I get it. I was just going to say that it feels safer to share your story, especially when women there and they understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I also there is this notion that migrants and refugees are not educated people, that's why they moved here, right? Yeah. And then why would we, so as soon as they say, oh, you're a refugee, I won't even look at your resume, I won't even give you the time of the day, you're probably unqualified. Yeah. What do you say?
it's disappointing. It's disappointing for a lot of reasons. So again, when I was researching, I wanted to understand the problem. I had never worked with the refugee community before. I didn't know what problems they faced. And when I had started this idea, again, it was like, well, maybe, we can get some secondhand sewing machines for some women. Maybe we can just start out very small. And I had a focus on women who were lower educated and lower skilled. Okay. Because I had assumed that women with a higher level of skill sets or higher education they had no problems getting jobs. Yeah. That was my first mistake, because during my outreach, I was meeting these amazing women who had done so much back home. I'm talking about researchers, I'm talking about scientists, engineers, and they could not even get an interview. Yeah. And it had been 2-3 years, and I could not understand that. So that really, for me, was an eye-opener, that it didn't matter, or doesn't matter, what experience they have or education they have. They're just not being hired. Yeah. And so that's how I think what we do now at She Matters is we work with women across the board. It doesn't matter, where you come from or what you've done in the past. She Matters is open to anyone.
But did you maybe went and asked these agencies of why they weren't employing these women? Mm-hmm. Did you ask them for the reason? Did you talk to somebody to just say, oh, okay, now I understand. If it's because of this, then mm-hmm. this is the solution. Have you went into that?
Yeah. So this started in the very beginning of She Matters. I would meet with companies and I was asking, just wanted to know, where's the gap? Where are the problems? And what I was hearing was this huge misconception about someone with a refugee background, what they can do in terms of employment. Yeah. That was the first thing they said to me is, Christina, I can tell you're so passionate about what you do. It's admirable, but refugees can't work in the Netherlands. And I was just so shocked because that's absolutely not true. If someone has their application for asylum is approved and in the Netherlands they're designated a status holder, they're given a temporary residence permit of 5 years, which gives them all the labor rights as a Dutch citizen. They can even own their own companies. Yeah. So there was this huge misconception. Number two is the concerns that they have with one of our participants at She Matters, with them acclimating into the workplace. So they would say to me, is she going to fit in? She's a refugee. She must have a lot of problems. Is she going to show up? Traumas. And so what I had developed based on that was our Lotus Flower program.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Lotus Program. I read about it and I loved how you made it like a step-by-step and all these criteria that women need in the workplace. And I loved it. I want to talk about it, but I want you to first tell me what it is and why did you choose the name Lotus?
Yeah. So I didn't want to call it an employment program because I wanted something that goes deeper to something symbolic that I think could really capture their experience. Yeah. And so with the lotus flower, it's actually quite beautiful. It's a flower that starts out, of course, in muddy, murky water. Yeah. And it needs that mud to grow, right? So it every day it starts in this mud, in this dirty water, and then it rises to the sun, and then it blooms into this beautiful flower. Yeah. And I thought that is perfect for the women who we work, because they've been through a lot. Yeah, I can imagine. Mean, that's just the nature. I mean, look, they're not here, on holiday. Yeah. They had no choice. But the fact that they worked so hard to make a better life for themselves, to start over after having been through so much. Yeah. That to me is that's a lotus flower.
And what does it contain?
Yeah, so
the content of it.
So it's a 12-week program where we go to companies and say, look, I have a qualified candidate who meets your requirements on this vacancy that I see on your website. And what we say to them is, I'm not asking you to hire them. because that's confrontational for companies. So we say, that there's no obligation to hire them. 12 weeks, try her out, have her come in here, practice a skill that she hasn't used in some time, allow her to learn a new skill, practice her Dutch language. She can also try out the position. We don't ever think about, her. It's always, the companies, and they need to try her out. I'm just like, it's a tryout for both of them, both the woman and the company. So during the 12 weeks, she goes to her traineeship part-time. Once a week, she goes to our facilities to gain extra hard skills and soft skills.
Nice.
So, how to interview for a job, how to, what are the gender norms in the Netherlands? What are your labor rights? What are some communication skills that'll help you in the workplace? It's really a 12-week comprehensive program made specifically for women. So at the end of the 12 weeks, we go back to the companies and we just say, how did it go? The company can either say, oh my gosh, Ala was great, we love her, we want to hire her. Then fantastic, have a new employee. But even if it didn't work, even if it wasn't a match, it's still 12 weeks of real experience that Ala can put on her CV that we helped her make during the workshops. And then we just continued to pitch her for another job. I mean, it's just such a win-win. And luckily it's working. We're seeing results.
Wow. I love that you're actually actively going there and doing something instead of just, we sent you the CV and nothing happened. No, I love that you actually created a practical solution there. And this is amazing.
A lot of times you see me and I speak, and I work heels. But most of the time, if you just randomly saw me at the central stations, I am in sneakers because I hustle throughout the Randstad. Like I'm just going to all these companies and I just, set up meetings as much as I can to really try to kick some doors open and just say, like
You're
this
going
is
there?
Yeah. You have no idea. So I do wear my sneakers a lot. I do because, heels are nice, but they're not practical all the time. So it's just a matter, again, I'm a strong woman and I hustle. I make it work. I grind. I just go at it every single day. As long as the coffee keeps coming, I can go 12 more rounds. So,
Yay. Okay, what is the major misconception that people have in regards to refugees, or what do they think about them that is not true?
I think there are many misconceptions, but the one that sticks out to me the most is when people say refugees don't want to work. They want to live on social benefits. We're being too kind to them with the system here. They're taking advantage of it. And nothing can be further from the truth. Absolutely nothing can be. I'm not only talking about the women who I meet, but also, their partners, their husbands. They want to work. They want to give back to the community. What does a job do to you? Right? It gives you identity. It gives you purpose. It allows you to participate in society. It gives you so much, and they want to work. They want a job, but because of these misconceptions, it's refugees can't work. That the refugees have been through a lot. They're psychologically damaged. All of these misconceptions is preventing them from getting a job. So to me, that is the one that sticks out to me the most.
If you can share a story of a refugee woman that you helped, a successful story.
This is the one. I think I'll remember this for the rest of my life. This was our first match, and it was with a Legal Research Institute in The Hague.
Wow.
They asked me if I knew any translators because they were doing a project in Syria, and I said, actually, I do. And this was our first match, and the contracts were very, I have a legal background, right? So I know about contracts, but to create a contract and to do all of it with the legalese, what are the requirements in the Netherlands? It was our first one, so it was a lot of work. And there was some times where I was just like, this isn't going to go through, because of course they had a lot of questions, and we just kept on going back and forth. And finally, I remember that week, I don't know how many hours of sleep I got. It wasn't much, but I remember how many cups of coffee I had. I honestly don't even remember if I showered that week. It was that terrible, but they called me and said, we would like to welcome this candidate. Please tell her to come in on Monday. And I was so excited, and I made the phone call, and I remember calling and telling her, congratulations, they're expecting on Monday. And then she started crying and saying, thank you so much, Christina, for all that you do. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping us. And then I remember her daughter was in the background crying, and it's just, I can hear her. And I started crying, like I lost it, because it was sort of that pinnacle moment where everything came together. And I started to see, the value again of what we do. And it's still hard, what we do. It's this innovative way of connecting refugee women to jobs. We're trying new things. We try new things all the time. As the founder and CEO, I mess up all the time. But at the end of the day, when things get hard, things get tough, I always go back to that moment. And that gives me so much energy.
One other thing is, what is the biggest challenges that refugees face here in the Netherlands, from their point of view?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's integrating. It's integration. So that means many things. That means integrating into society. That means, becoming an active member of society, which of course a job definitely helps with that. Yeah. So they feel, that they're here, and they're trying so hard. They learn the language. They go above and beyond learning the language. They volunteer to keep their skills sharp, to practice their Dutch. I feel like they give so much effort, and they are really trying, but I think that there's a gap between them feeling like, okay, this is my new home now, and am I being accepted? And rightfully so, right? I think that, we see a lot of this, populist movement, not so much, of course, in the Netherlands, but across, Europe, really across the world, is this, this idea of refugees and who are they? They're the other. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult, and that's again what when people say, well, why jobs? I just think when you get a job yourself, you feel good, but also society benefits from it in general. And so coming from America, I think about the advantages of immigration, right? So I look at the cultural diversity that immigrants bring. I think about, the innovation, the technological advances. Yeah. If we tap into those skill sets and the experiences of people with refugee background, they're sitting in our backyard and they're doing nothing. Yeah. They're hungry to work. It fits so well. So I would say, it's integrating and feeling, it's accepted into the community. Yeah,
I can imagine. In your opinion, why, as a woman, so this is something maybe far away from refugees, because women, we are always also how do I say this question? Why do you think, in your opinion, women are behind in the workforce? It doesn't matter if you are a refugee, it doesn't matter if you are a migrant. You just said that you don't see a lot of women in startups, and it's true, the majority are men. In your opinion, and as a woman, and as a strong woman at that, why do you think women are behind?
I think that women in general, I think, are less likely to take risks. I think that we're more worried about how we're perceived with our colleagues and maybe our boss. And we have to, in a way, be careful about how we say things. I think that if a woman's passionate about something and she gives her opinion forcefully but with passion, she's seen as someone who is aggressive. And and maybe oh my gosh, maybe it's that time of the month. Versus if it was a man, it's like, he's such a strong leader. Yeah. I think there's just such hypocrisy when it comes to women and them making a name for themselves. Definitely as a founder, I remember in the beginning I was like, I have to be a certain way, I have to be strong, and I have to sort of mimic what a male leader was in my mind, but then I started to experience all of these different things and the way people were perceiving me. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to be Christina. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says about me. I don't care what their opinions are, because I will never be able to have everyone like me. Yeah. I will die trying, and it's not worth my time. So there were people who would cheer me on, and there were people who they just don't, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, I serve the women who I work for at She Matters. That's, to me, they are so important. And I have to look at myself. And as long as I can go to bed every night knowing that I brought it that day, I worked hard, I did everything I could, that to me is more important than trying to fit in with everybody's idea of what or who a leader is or a CEO is.
And I think, in my opinion, why women are behind is because there is this saying by a homeless person who said that men held the pen for a very long time. So they've written how the rules are, how life can be or should be. And now women are holding that pen and then they're writing it. And I feel like he kind of summed up everything. They were the first to learn how to write. They were the first to learn how to read. So of course they're going to make the rules, and who would they make the rules for but themselves? And that's why, in my opinion, I feel like women are behind, because we weren't even given the opportunity to write, to read. Hell, if you read, they were like, why would you read? You don't need to read, you know?
That's spot on.
And that's why there is this huge gap, but I think we are catching on, right?
I hope so.
No, I see it. I see it a lot. There are a couple of startups here are starting by amazing, strong women, and you cheer them on and tell them, you know what, your success is my success, and I always believed in that. Women need to also support each other in that sense, like, you know what, your success is my success. If you succeed, I succeed, because you start something that our daughters gonna benefit from, and it goes like and down to generations and generations, because these women had to do it. For example, our mothers had to do so much for us to be here. And that's how I feel it is.
That's so true. That's spot on. It's really spot on.
Thanks. Okay, what do you think the future would look like for women in general?
In the workplace?
Yes.
I hope, only thing I can say is I guess what I hope for. I think what you just said a second ago, that the things are changing. I want women to take more risks. I want them to just dare to dream and dare to try. In my experience, I've had a lot of great women, after I speak and share what we do at She Matters, come up to me and saying, I want to do. I've always been passionate about painting. I've always been passionate about photography. What advice can you give me? And I'm just like, look. At the end of the day, I can't give you anything so profound. Only thing I can say is you get one life, and that's it. And I think there are a lot of people who die and they've never lived their magic. They've never lived their passion because they were afraid. And that for me has been, I'm even more afraid of being afraid, because I never want to look back like when I'm like 60 or 70 and think, I wish I would have. That to me would be, I don't know if I could live with myself. So I would say to women, try, take the leap, develop your wings on the way down, and just know that it's okay to fail. So the more we start to have this mentality of experimenting, failing, get up, dusting your knees off, and then trying it again. Just go. I think hopefully in 10 years, hopefully by then the United States will have our first female president. Maybe it'll trickle down all the way there.
I think it will be sooner than that.
Hopefully.
Before you know it. Change is happening, and it's happening very fast.
Yes.
Okay, what do you think, or what are the changes that you want to see in the world?
I would like, I'm thinking about, my children, of course, and I'm thinking, I want them to live in a world where, for instance, my son is not followed in a department store because of the color of his skin. I want him to be judged off of his merit, off of his character. I want my daughter not to be afraid to try things because she's afraid of failing. I think that there are so many things with the world, especially with, where we're living today. I could pick so many things, but the heart of it is I want them to have a better world. I want to leave them with a better world. And if that means me doing something like She Matters, that's how I can contribute. But everybody can do something. Maybe not as, similar to what I did with She Matters, but, finding out how they can help. Maybe it's with sustainability. Maybe it's going to their community and, helping the homeless population. I mean, everybody can do something.
Yeah.
And I think if we have that, mentality, the world can be a completely different place, even in 10 years.
Yeah. And a lot of people think, how can I help? No, I need to first become successful, then become rich, then I can help.
Yeah.
No, you can actually help by picking something up from the floor, because you don't want anybody to trip over it and just put it on the side. It's this small.
It's simple.
And it could be a smile, it could be a kind word, but people think that they have to do it at a massive scale for them to do something good, and it's just they miss the small stuff that actually matters.
I know.
What is it? Back to she matters. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Yeah, that is actually a really good question. And the honest to God answer is I have no idea. And I like it like that. I think that what I was finding is the more I was planning my life, the more I found out that you can plan all you want.
Yeah.
But life has a different plan for you.
Yeah.
And so I hope that, of course, with She Matters, this is a movement, of course, that will continue to grow. I do hope to step down from She Matters at some point and give it to a woman who has a refugee background. That's my ultimate dream, of course, is for She Matters to be obsolete, because we don't need these special programs for refugees to get a job. But I don't think that that's going to happen in my lifetime. So I would like to hand over She Matters to a woman who I think could take it further from what I can. And then for Christina, I don't know. I think it's it's just trying to spread the message to anybody that you can do and you can be anything that you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's up to you. You get one life, and if I can be an example to people, maybe just one person, I would be okay with that. So I just try to keep real and not these big plans, So.
Okay, so for the people who are interested, how can they contribute with you?
Yeah, so if you're somebody who maybe works in a company or you want to participate in our Lotus Flower program, please do get in touch. You can reach us at info@shematters.nl.
Yeah.
If you're someone who wants to volunteer, we are looking for volunteers to help with events, graphic design, our website. Please get in touch. But if you're just someone who just wants to, in some way contribute, even just having coffee and giving your ideas, please reach out. She Matters is not Christina's. She Matters is not one person. She Matters is the community, right? And we need everyone's help, and we cannot do it without it. So if you have any way you think you want to, help us out, please do get in touch.
Okay, cool. Where do you like to hang out here in Rotterdam?
Rotterdam. I love Rotterdam, by the way. Let me just go on record saying that. I love Rotterdam. I love to go to the Witstraat.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love Hotel Bazaar.
Okay.
They have this amazing
Turkish food.
Yeah, so good. I really enjoyed. That's probably my favorite restaurant, but there's a lot that I haven't explored yet. So if anybody has any tips, please get in touch too.
Very well. There are a lot of great places here, and so many are actually opening so fast. You cannot believe. Okay. This question, I saved it for last because I feel it touches the core of you. And if we're to say that this mic in front of you would be broadcasted to each and every person on this planet, so every person right now listens to what you have to say, what would be your message? It could be like whatever it is. It doesn't have to do with She Matters. It's just now everybody's listening to you.
Yeah.
What would your message be?
I think what I want to stand for, what I want to represent is the possibility of you reaching your potential and you finding your passion and your why. And to me, of course, I found my passion and my why through She Matters. But there have been so many obstacles along the way of me finding it and me doubting myself. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I experienced enough? And so it took me saying, you know what, again, I get one life, this is mine. Because I listened to that voice, I found my passion, I found my song that only I could sing, right? Perfect or not, I found Christina and I found what makes me happy. Does that equate right now to a huge bank account? No, but I am probably one of the richest people on this planet because I found a way to give back, and I found a way to drown out the noise and to not listen to what people say about me and what my journey is, what my destination is. So my message to the world is to find that. Get the courage and find what it is that you're good at. And I promise you that your life will change forever.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Thank you. Last thing, what is your call to action? What do you want people to know? Or maybe if you can mention your URL, your website, your Instagram, anything you want to say, basically. Yeah,
I would say, again, join us on this journey, because what I hope to do at She Matters is start a paradigm shift where refugee women are not seen as vulnerable, but as strong, resilient women who can contribute so much to the community, right? So you empower the woman, you empower the family, you empower the community, you empower the country. So join us on our journey. Each day brings something new, and the more people we can share that with, the better. So we're experimenting with some really cool things. In 2019, I want to actually have video, like a vlog, where I bring people along with me, at Central Station with my sneakers, visiting companies, meeting the women who have just changed my life. And the only way you can do that is to follow us on social media. Our website is shematters.nl. So we have updates all the time. Just join us.
And your Instagram account as well?
It's also so all of our social media accounts are She Matters NL.
Okay. So there you have it. She Matters NL and She Matters .nl.
Yeah, for our website. Yeah.
Christina, you have been more than amazing.
Thank you
so much for doing
I'm a huge fan of Rotterdam. So thank you for your work. And I think, you are just in the community, I think someone who, women and young girls can look up to. So I think, let's support each other. Let's get the message out there that women in particular, there's so much that we can do. Let's support each other. Let's lift each other up.
Yeah. Let's lift each
other up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Thanks. Yay.
Awesome. Thanks so much.